Okay, welcome back as we are here for episode 16 of Coffee with Parishioners. I'm here today with Chris Williams. Chris, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you. How have you been?
Great to be here, and I've been wonderful.
Good, good.
Blessed.
Yes, blessed indeed. So do you have a beverage there?
I do. It's not coffee.
Okay.
I don't. I drink it occasionally, but I drink incessantly. I drink my Diet Mountain Dew.
Okay, your Diet Mountain Dew.
And,
Interesting.
and this is my mug representing where I am located right now.
And where's that?
I'm in my workshop down in the basement.
Oh, very good, very good.
It's one of the things I like to do. That's one of my hobbies.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I've got my mug here. You know, it's interesting. Before you, a second ago when you said you're a Mountain Dew drinker, I know you're a Diet Mountain Dew drinker. I used to drink a lot of the Code Red Mountain Dew.
Oh, wow.
When I was in college, I drank a lot of Code Red, which I guess there's worse things I could have drunk a lot of in college, but I don't know. Sometimes I just lost the taste for it. I mean, every once in a while I might get it, but not like I used to. And I gradually, I don't know if I replaced it with coffee, but it's interesting. I have a little bit of French vanilla creamer in my coffee this morning, and that's a reminder of like when I made that transition and perhaps drinking less Code Red, starting to drink more coffee, and because I was one who my gateway drink was all of the flavored cappuccinos and stuff. You know, I started drinking the French vanilla cappuccinos and all that, and lattes, and then gradually developed a taste for coffee. So anyway, and my mug, I think you know about this. I got this from a certain parishioner who happens to be talking to me on Zoom right now, and I love this. It's a very clever. It's got the Roman collar, Father Daniel, and I love it because there's a number of things that it reminds me of, but it strikes me as almost I don't want to say a sequel, but almost an update of this, which I shared this in a previous episode. And, you know, this has sentimental value because it makes me think of my aunt who died in my first year of seminary. This has sentimental value because it will make me think of you, right? But the interesting thing is, you know, like I said, my aunt passed away my first year of seminary, so she never saw me become a priest, and she was one of the holiest women I've ever known. And so now, and also that this one says Dan, this one says Daniel, right? That the previous assignment in which I did go by my first name, I tried to go by Father Daniel. This is one of the reasons I went back to Father Gifford, right? But Daniel is one of those names that people naturally shorten, right? So everybody called me Father Dan. So anyway, so I just, there's a lot of reasons why I love this. So thank you. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about this hobby of yours? I'm sorry?
You can drink and you still have your collar. You can take a drink and you still have your collar there. That's good.
Oh, yeah.
You don't block it.
Yeah, I like
Perfect.
it. I like it. Good. So you want to tell us a little bit more about your hobby that's been keeping you busy these past few months, and I'm sure beyond?
Yes. Well, for anyone who knows me or has seen me in church, they'll generally see me over on this gentleman's side. And because of my woodworking, my aunt, who has passed away quite a while ago, she was a nun. Her name was Sister Jovita. And she got this she got this Joseph statue went for her 50-year jubilee as a nun.
Hmm.
And the other nuns gave this to her because her name is a derivative of her mother and her father. Her parents were Joseph and Josephine, and she chose Joe from that and Vita for life, Joe
Hmm.
Vita. So she was my favorite aunt, and she gave me this, and it's followed me around the country.
Wow.
It's been in all of my workshops, I've been doing woodworking for about 40 years. And in that time, uh, St. Joseph is always there watching over my shoulder to make sure that I don't make any mistakes. And he's done a great job so far.
That's
And
awesome.
the other thing I always task him with is to make sure that when I go upstairs, that I have the same number of fingers that I had when I came down.
That's
So,
good.
so he does watch over me.
That's good.
I
And
appreciate it.
I love the connection that we're both being reminded today of beloved aunts. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
So, yeah,
And
awesome.
so one of the things that's really kept me busy this COVID season was I had some trees fall in the backyard um, about January. And by February, I got in touch with uh, Taylor's Way. And many of you know the Taylors from our parish.
Hmm.
And one of the brothers, Dennis, came over and I met him.
Hmm.
He was so generous and kind with his time that I gave him one of my snowflakes that many of you have probably seen as well. I've been making these for 35 years, and
Yeah,
they're on every continent in the world.
it's
And
awesome.
Pope Francis has one out of wood made from Argentina. So that
Wow.
was when I gave one to Dennis Taylor. Dennis asked me if I could make some crosses for his brother Buster, who attends a church out by Buda, and that they have a gardens club, a women's garden club, and they needed some crosses to hand out to the ladies who did something special there. So I made some crosses, and in the process, I made one where a friend of mine called me on FaceTime during this, COVID, because people can't visit. But
Hmm.
wanted to see what I was doing, and I picked up the phone in my shop, and I showed her the cross I was making, and she said, "Can you make me one? My birthday's coming up." And so I made her one. She's
Hmm.
the Mexican lady. And so I made one with a Mexican theme to it. It looked more like it came from Mexico.
Hmm.
And she just loved it. And it had a heart on in the front of it. And so that became a regular thing that I was doing, because once I was halfway through making that cross, I got a call from my brother Dan, who's just older than me, and that's coincidental, Daniel.
Hmm.
And so Dan said, "What are you doing?" And I showed him the cross. He goes, "I want one." And so I thought, I got to make you a cross now. So I made him one similar to this one, and this is the one I made for my wife.
Hmm.
Cross is made out of cherry, and the heart, the
Cherry
heart,
is what the main cross is made out of?
yes, the main
Okay.
cross is cherry wood from the Midwest.
Hmm.
And then the heart uh, is made out of, and I'll show that as best I can, very smooth. But the
Mm.
heart is made out of wood from Australia called
Wow.
bloodwood. And so it was a good opportunity for me to use that wood.
Bloodwood. Wow.
So I made that. And then when I was this one was long finished. When it was getting closer to the Feast of Sacred Heart, I realized I need to make one, being that this heart represents the Sacred Heart with
Yeah.
the flames coming out of the top. And so I carved another one and made it for you, Father. And
There it is. Right. I
yes,
love that. I was trying to remember the name of the wood that you told me. Of course,
blood.
I, I, it's so beautiful and it is so smooth, and to know that it's bloodwood is especially striking and meaningful. Yeah.
And another connection with that particular wood is that my daughter married a gentleman whose name is Chris, and they when they got married, his ring actually has bloodwood in it.
Oh, really?
It
Huh.
circles the ring. The part of the ring is made out of wood, and
Huh.
so I thought that is a really neat connection. So
Yeah.
one of the other things I did during the COVID was I drilled out some circles and I made rings out of them for my daughter and my son-in-law
Hmm.
out of the bloodwood that you have on your cross, Father.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's been a lot of fun, and some people say that they have nothing to do. I've always had a lot of hobbies going on, and woodworking just happens to be one. And it's something I can certainly do alone in my basement, getting no viruses.
Very good. That's
So
awesome. So it's a hobby that you enjoy and can engage in safely, and at the same time, you put such thought and I'm sure prayer into doing things so meaningfully, and it's such a wonderful example of using the gifts that God has given us, right, to serve Him and to serve others. It's
yes,
wonderful.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
and I'm also no stranger to these.
Yeah.
Work Working in the wood shop, these are something that I use quite often to keep my lungs clean.
Good, good. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Well, this is great to be able to talk about this. Of course, I've seen some of your work. I have a few of those snowflakes around here somewhere, and as well, we have your Divine Mercy image in the Saint Jerome room. I
Yes.
don't know if I told you this. The St. Jerome Room, of course, is basically serving as our confessional for right now, and so where I sit, in order for people to be able to have 6 feet, 6 feet distant options both in front of me and behind me, I'm not necessarily facing the most meaningful direction, but I want that to be a prayerful time as I prepare to receive people, to give them the mercy of God, and so. I do have within my line of sight the beautiful Caravaggio's Call of St. Matthew. It's one of my favorites that I knew when we were sort of setting up that room. Something just struck me, and I just knew I want to copy the Call of St. Matthew in there. But at the same time, the angle that I'm sitting, there's enough glare. Sometimes I get a good look at it and can play with it. Sometimes not as much. Long story short, I ended up moving your Divine Mercy image and putting it up against the lamp opposite where I sit. It helps me to pray as I prepare to receive people in the sacrament of reconciliation. So thank you.
Father, that was so directly inspired by Jesus. As I took that course in Divine Mercy that Kathy Trowbridge facilitated, and many of the parishioners were in that class with me, and I just really got to know some people, and it made me closer, certainly closer to him. And I just saw the picture, and I just kept looking at that painting
Yeah.
that Sister Faustina was told to get painted.
Yeah.
And, so I thought I need to make something similar out of wood.
That's awesome. That is beautiful. Well, I'm so glad you did, and so thanks for sharing about your using of your gifts.
Not as
As I said,
consistent.
yeah,
Not
he
as
is. Yeah, awesome. Well, Chris, it's always a delight to talk to you. I'm grateful for your witness of faith, and I know that sharing this conversation will be a blessing to many others as well besides me. So thank you for blessing all of us with this time.
Thank you, Father.
All right. God bless you.
Thank you.